All right. Greetings. Welcome back to Blackburn News, where everything is connected. How are you guys doing? Thanks for being here. Thanks for showing up. Thank you, Andrew. Appreciate you, man. Thanks for continuing to be a longtime viewer along with everybody else. We're live on Rockfin, YouTube, and X. Let's see. Victory, Bella, John, Extra Bulla, Kate. Lots of people here. Victory. Did I say victory? All right. Cool. Let's get into it. And I'm sure people will throw in some things for me to talk about and look at as the show goes forward. If you're on X, retweet wherever you are, like it up, retweet it, repost it, reshare it. Trump admits 300,000 killed in Gaza. What's the thing on you can count on Trump to be an honest liar, because he will admit some things that sorry, it's kind of like eating breakfast before I started the show. Oh, George, he said he was watching me before I was Black Bear News. Yeah. How long ago was that? That would have been, had to have been, because I changed over from Red Llama, from my Red, I was doing it on my music channel. First 2 years maybe, and then I switched everything over to Black Bear News. Maybe 2018 or 19. Lurk away, Unk. Yeah. Well, I started the show in 2017. It must have been about 2018, and I changed it over. I just am trying to, I was trying, and I'm still trying to get things to, the reason why I separate Black Bear News from like my music stuff is because, I don't know. I don't necessarily want people who are searching my music to, and vice versa. I mean, it's cool if people find my music, because the news thing gets a little controversial, and the music thing, I just want people to listen to the music and dig the music. It's not that I'm a different person, or I'm acting like a different person, or I'm being anyone different in either space. It's just that people are, have sensitivities and whatnot. I'm not always sure that people are ready to get some hard-hitting truth alongside their background music that they're playing. So, I prefer to just keep those things separate. Just a shout out to all the people who have posted Black Bear News videos with my name in the title. Could you please take my name out of the title? There are still a couple out there. If you're listening, or if you haven't upon this post, could you please take my name out of the title? Because I specifically asked people not to do that. Anyways, Black Bear News would be fine. All right. Trump is what I mean. You know what I mean by an honest liar. He's a liar and a bullshitter, but you can count on him to also drop things that are, he's just not very polished as far as the whole statescraft kind of thing. He says things he's not supposed to say, and he doesn't really give a shit about that. And on that level, you can kind of appreciate him for that, because other people will just stick to the lie all the time. And that's only stagecraft. Yeah. That only, And that's annoying because you know they know. I'll play you some videos of people just straight up lying today about other things. And you know they know they're lying. But they're going to stick to the lie. And yeah. Anyways, Biden, there is a, where are we? Biden publicly announced he was diagnosed with prostate cancer. When I heard the news, I said, what took so long? And I know that's harsh, but I didn't mean it like that. I just meant it, well, maybe a little bit, but he's, he's a bad guy. He's a bad guy. He's a bad guy. No, I don't wish ill on anybody. He's about as horrible of a person as you could possibly find in the world. And he's suffering, the dementia, the cancer, suffering through having to humiliate himself being president in public. All the terrible things he's done have done come back to bite him. And I don't wish, again, I'm not that much of a cold heart that I would wish this on somebody, but the reason why I said what took so long is I figured he's barely there anyway. He's barely making it through the days, and so it wouldn't surprise me. It didn't surprise me. And if they, who knows how many, there's like 5 Bidens out there. Osama, you know what I'm talking about. If he wasn't ever alive for the last several years, wouldn't surprise me. If he had, just dropped dead and they were like, oh, that was it. Biden expired yesterday. Wouldn't surprise me. The dude is barely functioning. So all of that is to say it's not surprising. And on top of that, there's people saying that he probably had cancer he's had cancer for a while, and they're just now admitting it. People saying that they released a cancer diagnosis so that he could be he could be empathized with or sympathized with, instead of being treated like a war criminal, which he should be, because he's a war criminal. He should be on trial for war crimes, among other things, maybe financial crimes. Not maybe, definitely financial crimes. The dude is a criminal. Dude is a straight up criminal. And this is Johnny Grass saying, my response to every shit lib demanding I feel bad about Joe Biden's prostate cancer. This is him telling people that want a better government.
Give me a break. No. I have no empathy for it. Give me a break. Give me a break. No.
Yeah, he's telling people he doesn't have any empathy. I don't know, for people that got cheated out of getting something better. Anyways, for the kids that are crying and whining that, they're getting screwed over, that they're having their future stripped away from them for their faith in government or elections, or he's like, whatevs, yo. I don't care. Let's see. Zeke Emanuel, Dr. Zeke Emanuel, telling MSNBC that he had prostate cancer 3 years ago, 4 years ago, 3 years ago. He told Morning Joe that Biden definitely had cancer during his presidency in 2021. In other words, it was hidden. Scarborough was shocked. I mean, same with the dementia. There's all that, now they're like, oh, we should have known. It was so obvious he had dementia. So obvious that he was just completely out of his mind and not able to function correctly. Yeah, he had no empathy for people that feel cheated by the system or feel cheated by their party. Apparently, he had no empathy for the kids in Gaza that he helped bomb. Had no empathy for the soldiers in Ukraine who got sent to their mortal coil. Sorry, off the mortal coil. Can't even say that word right now. Mortal coil. Yeah, not a lot of empathy coming from this guy. So what, I don't know. Anyways, as far as souls go, you want to hope that somebody has some maybe shred of ability to save their souls or repent or something. See the light. Let's listen to this.
You believe it is likely, if this prostate cancer has spread to the bone, that he could have had it for up to a decade, but certainly it's likely. Would it be fair to say it's likely to have had this for at least several years?
Oh, more than several years. You don't get prostate cancer.
I just want to stop you. So this is not speculation. If you have prostate cancer that is spread to the bone, then he's most certainly, you were saying, had it when he was president of the United States.
Oh, yeah. He did not develop it in the last 100, 200 days. He had it while he was president. He probably had it at the start of his presidency in 2021. Yes, that I don't think there's any disagreement about that.
And I'm just curious again, if your doctor to a president of the United States that is a male, that is an older man, would a prostate test, and again, we're just talking about a PSA screening, a blood test that you could do along with all the other blood tests. It's not even that it would be intrusive. Would this not be one of the first tests that you would conduct as a White House doctor?
If you're a White House doctor in this situation, I think you would certainly discuss it with the president and talk about the pros and cons. I think if you then ask, well, if President Biden says, well, if I'm your father, which patients often do, what would you recommend? I think the fact is that most White House doctors would recommend getting the test. And again, the evidence is, look at President Obama, President Bush, younger than President Biden, and they both got the test.
Yep. Anyways, so so many people saying this is, I mean, it is a distraction, Jolene. Probably meant to distract from his actual crimes. But is anybody held accountable? Really? Here you go. Look at this. Tax filings reveal Biden cancer charity spent millions on salaries, zero on research. What? It was a money laundering scheme? Whoa, tell me more. Of course it was. Well, that's the thing that Biden is really good at. Money laundering. This dude is a pro, has been a pro for years. For decades. This dude is a pro at money laundering. So you just assume that everything he touched was a grift. And, you know, I hope he was happy about that for a while, you know. Hope he enjoyed it. For however long he was able to enjoy it, I guess. Hold on one second, y'all. Yeah, searches just aren't what they used to be, you know what I'm saying? Tax filings reveal Biden cancer charity spent millions on salaries, their own research. The Biden Cancer Initiative was founded in 2017 by the former vice president and his wife, Jill Biden, to develop and drive implementation of solutions to accelerate progress in cancer prevention, detection, diagnosis, research, and care, and to reduce disparities in cancer outcomes. Well, also remember that they pushed the shots on people, right? The COVID shots, which have been linked to aggressive cancers. So there's another one, another little twist there for you. Anyways, it gave out no grants in its first 2 years and spent millions on the salaries of former Washington, D.C. aides it hired. The charity took in almost $5 million in contributions. In 2017 and 18, spent $3 million on payroll in those 2 years. $3 million in payroll out of $5 million. And where did the other $2 million go? Yeah. Yeah. Anyways, I'm going to leave this alone after this. So this is Biden diagnosed with aggressive form of prostate cancer, has been diagnosed with an aggressive form of prostate cancer that has spread to his bones. Yikes. As reported by multiple news outlets, that is not great. According to a statement from his personal office on Sunday, the 82-year-old former president received the diagnosis on Friday after doctors discovered a prostate nodule while evaluating him for increasing urinary symptoms. Anyways, that's rough. Sorry, Joe. Joe Corn Pop Biden. And he spent so many of his years in office screwing over the regular American for his benefit. And so there's that. Oh, I saw a little bit of something about this. Or did I see you post this somewhere else? Denver. breakthrough in what? Battery? Batteries are just supercapacitors. Oh, I see. Okay. Scientists from Nagaland University developed supercapacitor material that charges faster and lasts longer. Traditional supercapacitor electrodes have relied on expensive rare earth materials and complex fabrication processes, creating significant barriers to widespread commercial implementation. Developments for renewable energy implementation. Yeah, man. When it gets to your bones, it's bad news. So it's based works on graphene. Okay. Let's read just a little more. The breakthrough centers on the development of an innovative, cost-effective material for supercapacitors that promises to transform energy storage capabilities across multiple sectors. This cutting-edge technology not only surpasses conventional lithium-ion batteries and energy storage capacity, but also achieves remarkable faster charging times, potentially addressing one of the most pressing challenges in sustainable energy adoption worldwide. Never forget Jevons paradox, but that's another story. The research team's discovery focuses on a novel production method for animated graphene, aminated, not animated, aminated, get it right, a specialized material derived from reduced graphene oxide. What sets this development apart is its combination of superior electrochemical performance with unprecedented affordability in manufacturing. Traditional supercapacitor electrodes have relied on expensive rare earth materials and complex fabrication processes, creating significant barriers to widespread commercial implementation. By contrast, the Indian scientists' innovation utilizes a streamlined single-step conversion process that transforms ordinary graphite into high-performance aminated graphene at standard temperature and pressure conditions. All right. Supercapacitors incorporating this new material demonstrate exceptional characteristics that could redefine energy storage standards. Okay. All right. Could be something. Let's go back to this. On the subject of money laundering, this is interesting. This is actually right up the road from me. In Signal Hill, California, 700 companies are headquartered at one address in a small building in Los Angeles, California. This was reported to regulators, and you guessed it, nothing was done. Money laundering. Take a look at this quiet building in Signal Hill, California. It doesn't look like the headquarters of hundreds of trucking companies, right? But federal records show nearly 700 freight companies tied to the single address. Weird. Roughly 500 of those companies list the same email. This would be a perfect place to put fake trucking companies in Los Angeles County because Signal Hill is right next to Long Beach. Long Beach is the second largest container port in America.
Take a look at this quiet building in Signal Hill, California.
I know exactly where this building is. I've passed this building a few times.
Doesn't look like the headquarters of hundreds of trucking companies, right? But federal records show nearly 700 freight companies tied to this single address. Roughly 500 of those companies list the same email. WTF, fmcsa at AOL.com.
How ridiculous and absurd is this?
Trax reported this exact address to federal regulators 2 years ago.
If we all know about it and we reported it, why is something not being done?
Take a look at this quiet building in Signal Hill, California. Doesn't look like the headquarters of hundreds of trucking companies, right? But federal...
Sorry. Well, that's interesting, and I'm sure that happens in so many other ways, in so many other places. I'd say this is probably less rare than they're making it out to be. But interesting story, and I'd like to see some more on this. Let's see. If there's only a longer clip of this, all I can see is this 30-second clip. I don't know. I'll have to look at. I was trying to see if I could get a longer clip of this report. Who knows? So have you heard what happened to the ICC prosecutor? Very scary stuff. And if you think that the so-called feud between Trump and Netanyahu is like a real thing, and that like there really is a rift going on, and somehow Israel's going to get its due, or something. Ben Norton, well, this has been going around for a few days. But they're calling it a Trump. That Trump did this. Trump sanctioned the International Criminal Court to punish it for charging Israel's Prime Minister Netanyahu with war crimes. So, yeah, all the stuff about Trump and Netanyahu, though it was interesting, being at odds or being, and we'll take a look at a couple other clips around the same story. The idea that maybe they could possibly be at odds and that something was going to shift or something. Not so much. Trump throwing weight, international weight, against Kareem Khan, prosecutor of the International Criminal Court. Anyways, they froze his bank account. They deleted his personal email. His home country is the UK. To punish the ICC for its attempts to go after Israel for Gaza, Trump launched a series of sanctions on the court's officials. Man, this is scary. And I keep seeing people out there saying like, well, the Democrats and the Biden was going to take away everybody's free speech and stuff like that. No. He just passed the baton to Trump, and he's like, here, you go. You take it. You take the crackdown on free speech or human rights and or civil rights or the Bill of Rights or habeas corpus, or you just take this and keep running, Trump. Okay, we got you. Don't worry about me. I'm just back here with my bone cancer. I'm just gonna sit down and eat an ice cream cone, and you keep going, Trump. The chief prosecutor, we already read this. If you ever wondered why the ICC only ever goes against global South countries or individuals, you have your answer, because when they don't, they quite literally have their personal lives destroyed. They have halted the tribunal's work. Microsoft canceled Khan's email address, forcing the prosecutor to move to Proton Mail. The Swiss email, I mean, people, if you haven't already done that, by all means, I mean, I know you need like a Gmail address to do a lot of things if you're running Gmail apps, but by God, get a Proton Mail account or some other kind of encrypted account, that is not quite so vulnerable to this kind of stuff. His bank accounts in his home country, the UK, have been blocked. Also, credit unions, other things that you can do besides actually traditional bank accounts, et cetera, et cetera. Staffers at the NGO that plays an integral role in the court's efforts to gather evidence and find witnesses said the group has transferred money out of U.S. bank accounts because they fear it might be seized by the Trump administration. Good call. Scary. This is what the technocratic panopticon is. You have a cryptid account. Is that better than Proton, or just the same, or different, or is it good? This is an example of how the state engages in coercion if they don't like what you're doing, and it reaches across international borders, across jurisdictions, and they pretty much no, don't go back to AOL. They pretty much can do whatever they want. Let's see. So that's frightening. There is more. Okay. I see. As opposed to encrypted, just decrypted. I gotcha. Okay. All right. Yeah, bank accounts. Well, I mean, I remember that Trudeau froze the bank accounts of the truckers that opposed COVID mandates. And because they smeared them as Nazis or right-wingers, they were able to generate a lot of, hatred or anger at the truckers and what they were doing up there in Canada. But Trudeau and his administration froze their bank accounts or froze their GoFundMes and completely, shut them down. Stole their Bitcoin, stole their crypto. So when somebody, mentioned that after Mark Carney won, that, somehow fascism was avoided in Canada, I was like, but there was already the thing. They already are doing the fascism in Canada. You can't avoid fascism if they're already doing the fascism. Kind of like kind of like Trump winning. It was not voted in. It was already there. He's just here to enlarge it, engorge it, the fascism. Globo Corpo Techno State, sure. So yeah, and further evidence that there isn't really any animosity between Trump and Netanyahu. As the apocalyptic endgame Israeli offensive in Gaza gets underway, Steve Witkoff, Trump envoy to Israel. I don't think there is any daylight between President Trump's position and Prime Minister Netanyahu's position, with Netanyahu's position being the final conquest of Gaza. So there you have it. So all of this, trumpeting of, Trump's break from Netanyahu, and it's going to be a new world, and it's going to be very different now, and he's going to recognize Palestine as a state, blah, blah, blah. Apparently, it was a ploy to get the masses to go back to sleep for about 5 minutes, right? Because that's really, you're going to run all these stories out for a couple of days and just go like, well, that's it. Everybody go back to sleep. We'll just continue what we're doing while everybody goes like, well, inflation is down. I feel better. The Trump administration is really doing some good moves. Parliament honors a Waffen. Right. Oh, yeah. That was also in Canada during Trudeau's administration, where they honored a former Nazi SS. In Parliament. Anyways, let's listen to this. It's very short.
The president, John, is a humanitarian. And I think that everyone is concerned about the humanitarian conditions in Gaza. That said, it is a very complicated situation there. Logistically,
they're going to keep telling you it's complicated.
I don't think there's any daylight between President Trump's position and Prime Minister Netanyahu's position. The issue now is, how do we logistically get all of those trucks into Gaza? How do we set up the aid stations? There are many initiatives that we're working on to address this.
What?
The president, John, is a humanitarian.
Oh my God. Okay. It's just all about getting the aid in there. That's what Trump wants to do. He just wants to get that aid going in there. That's what he wants. So we're going to need to go in and clean out the rest of Hamas and those pesky hospitals and doctors and stuff that are getting in the way of the aid actually getting to where it needs to go. So, so they can do their humanitarian sham. I don't know. Whatever they're doing. And Netanyahu, of course, last week saying there is no situation in which they don't keep doing what they're doing in Gaza. That's the intention. There is no, there's no humanitarian consideration. No hostage release situation. No nothing. No ceasefire situation. No nothing. We're doing it. I mean, that's something, Bulla. He keeps losing lawsuits over Israel protests. Yeah, I mean, he's going to keep losing lawsuits because everything he's doing is unconstitutional and illegal. So, if if the courts aren't completely hijacked, and there are courts that are hijacked, they're going to keep finding what he's doing unconstitutional and illegal. I don't know. I mean, that's what I think when I look at Trump. I think there goes a great humanitarian. What a joke. What a maroon. What an ultra maroon. What does this mean for anybody or anything? This sounds like a, kind of a statement by, where are we here? The Global Campaign on Military Spending. It seems like a good group of people that have the right idea. Is this gonna move the needle? I don't know. They're calling on all governments to reduce military spending and instead address through cooperation and diplomacy the global challenges of our time, requiring all available resources. That would require that semi-sane people be running the show, and there are none of those available, unfortunately. We call for real efforts aimed at global disarmament, stopping the arms trade, and ceasing arms shipment to countries in conflict. Heck yeah. Involved in regional instability or systematically violating human rights and international law. We call on governments and companies to prioritize peace and justice over profits derived from arms manufacturing and trading. Heck yeah. Anyways. This is very true, but I don't know. I just don't see any way that happens at the moment unless we get aliens or Jesus or someone to come on in and give us a flood or a plague or something. I don't know what can wipe away the corrupt ones. Clean the slate, if you will. I don't know. I don't know how we do that. Not really sure. Unless there's a mass mobilization of the people of the planet Earth to overrun their local parliament, Congress, whatever, and do the wiping away themselves. I don't know. I don't know how it happens. But it's a good thought. It's good to run these exercises every once in a while. Like, what would you do in a perfect world? Or how would it look if we didn't do the things that we're doing currently? As in act like insane lunatics. But there is pressure, and there are people talking about things more in a public space than ever. And maybe, just maybe, kind of doubtful, but maybe there's a little bit of a shift in what people are allowed to think about, talk about. Zero Hedge bringing up the Clinton body count and Epstein ties to Israel in the White House briefing room, which is a pretty public stage. I don't know. What are they going to talk about next? 9/11? Here we go.
Thank you. And my only other question for you is, so over the weekend, President Trump posted Truth Social a video highlighting what most people call the Clinton body count, which is the strange number of suicides that seem to happen in Clinton circles. I have a headline here from the Washington Post that said, Trump peddles false conspiracy theories tying the Clintons to several deaths. So I just wanted to highlight real quick, this wasn't in Trump's video, but this is from the Arkansas Times. And it's the death of Mark Middleton, who was a former Clinton White House aide who was found dead on a Clinton Foundation property. And I'll just quote from the Arkansas Times. Middleton apparently shot himself in the chest with a shotgun and also hung himself from a tree with an extension cord. So I have no idea how somebody commits suicide that way, but if the Washington Post is here, maybe you can enlighten us as to how that was actually a suicide. So anyways, that's just a lead into my question about the most famous Clinton-related suicide, which is that of Jeffrey Epstein. There's still a lot of questions around that case. You've released phase 1 of the Epstein files. What was missing from that is any connection to his ties to intelligence agencies, and that's really the whole story, that not just trafficking young girls, but doing it on behalf of intelligence agencies, and even potentially as part of a blackmail ring with potential ties to the Israeli government. So for phase 2, when can we expect it? Will it have information pertaining to those aspects of the Epstein case?
I know the Attorney General has committed to releasing those files. I would defer you to the Department of Justice on her timeline, but when she has made a promise in the past, she has kept it, and I'm certain that she will in this case as well. Great.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Well, so all this talk of the storied Epstein files finally being released. You have Kash Patel on Fox News saying, "Oh, he definitely committed suicide." I don't know what you guys can have your own opinions, and everybody else does have their own opinions, which are different opinions in this. And pretty much every thinking person on the planet Earth, if you are not completely co-opted or a straight up moron, you know he didn't kill himself. And the implications of that, just take that out, in a linear fashion. Like, what does that mean? Well, I don't know. Think about it. Here we go. And Dan Bongino. Here we go.
You said Jeffrey Epstein committed suicide. People don't believe it.
Well, I mean, listen, they have a right to their opinion, but as someone who has worked as a public defender, as a prosecutor, who's been in that prison system, who's been in the Metropolitan Detention Center, who's been in segregated housing, a suicide when you see one. And
that's experience. Have you never been to, where was he? Was he in Rikers or where was he? You've never been to prison. How can you talk about it?
What that was.
I've been.
He killed himself. You want me to get?
These guys really trying to stick with the manufacturing of the story that no one believes, dude. So you guys just make yourself look even more crazy and insane and unfit to do anything when you throw around absolute bald-faced lies like this. And there is no intention. If this is what they're saying, there is absolutely no intention to really get to the bottom of anything.
I've seen the whole file.
You've seen the whole file. Chat that. Okay. He wasn't in Rikers. Where was he? Where was Epstein? What prison was he in? We're getting it all screwed up. I don't know. Metropolitan Correctional Center. He just said that. So yeah, in the Metro jail. Sure. Okay. Anywho's. Kate said, I saw his head on the gurney, and I saw it. The head was wheeled out of the gurney, on the gurney, soon to appear at Alcatraz. This is one of the cases. This is the this story particularly turns every single person into a conspiracy theorist. So if you think that conspiracy theorists are crazy or nutty or loony or shouldn't have a voice or something, absolutely nobody on the planet Earth believes this story. Thus proving that everyone on the planet Earth is a conspiracy theorist, except for these two knuckleheads who are running game. So, yeah, nobody believes this. So everyone's a conspiracy theorist. So try not to be so judgmental about the conspiracies, because you know you are. And if you believe this one, then and everybody does, that you know that weird things happen and that people conspire and people do things don't make any sense. Like the story of Mark Middleton, right? Going back to that one. There isn't a Clinton body. That's great. There's no Clinton body list. There's no body count. Yeah, it takes like 3 seconds to look at that story and go like, oh, he definitely totally did not kill himself. So, right. And look at just 5 of those cases and you would be like, oh yeah, well, I'm a person that's capable of thinking, through a couple of things. And none of this looks very kosher. But you have to be intentionally ignorant and or not want to look at things and or not want to deal with looking at things and or not want the blowback or the fallout from looking at things and thinking about things. So anyways. That's right, Kate. Here in Canada, when dead bodies are removed, the body is usually put in a body bag. But in that jail, we get to see dead bodies exiting the building. Bullet says Epstein was alive because he has a trigger that when he dies, all the shit gets released. Huh. Sure. The dead man's switch. Well, there's a picture of him on the island post suicide, isn't there? Let's look. I think it's on Twitter. There's a picture of him on the island. And sure looks like him. Like a drone shot. Where is it? Here below, you can see drone footage of someone who looks like Epstein on his island after the suicide. Yeah, here you go. Here you go. I mean, you got to take this at face value. We don't know when this is really taken. That totally looks like him. So you want to watch the drone footage? It's like 50 seconds. Again, you got to take this. Hard to confirm this, but it's interesting. Piece of evidence, if it is admissible as evidence. I don't know. Bella says after Mr. Epstein's death, his estate transferred more than $12 million to a southern country, according to court documents. I couldn't really see much there. Could you guys see anything there? This is it right here. This is just the beginning of it. It looks like him. Yep. This guy here. I don't know. Oh, Southern Country International. It's a bank. I was like, what Southern Country? Southern Country. Just put your funds. That's great. That's a great name. Just move your funds on over to Southern Country. What Southern Country? You know, all of them. Pick your country. Move your funds to Southern Country. We'll take care of it. We'll take it from here. That's their tagline, right? Southern Country International. We'll take it from here. Need a safe haven for those money laundering funds, or those child trafficking funds, or there's those drug trade funds? Move your funds to Southern Country. We'll take it from here. All right. If you like this show, if you appreciate the show coming to you for free 99 Monday through Friday, you want to see the show continue to bring you relevant news and relevant news coverage on a daily basis, consider supporting the show at one of the links in the description box. All the usuals are there: PayPal, Venmo, CashApp, Zelle, Buy Me a Coffee, Ko-Fi, Patreon, Substack, etc., etc., etc. Many of you contribute to the show on a regular basis. You know who you are, and I appreciate you. Let's see. Kind of sliding into the end of the show here. Well, isn't there Southern Country? Isn't there a what's the Southern Air Transport? Just random, vague name, but you know they both have the word Southern in their title, which I think is interesting. Southern Air Transport being like a cover, like a shell company that does like CIA, moves things around for the CIA and other entities. Yeah, very interesting. Lastly, Cash Patel telling you, well, let's do two more things. Two more things. Cash Patel letting you know that we got to stand with Israel. Oh, no. We got to wake up and prioritize Israel. We got to wake up. If we don't wake up and prioritize Israel, someone's going to wake me up and prioritize my prioritizing Israel. And I don't want that, so we're going to make sure that everybody wakes up and prioritizes Israel. All right?
We will shut off the machinery that feeds money into Iran. We will no longer have 100 hostages still in captivity, Israeli and American and otherwise, by Hamas and Iran's Hezbollah mercenary forces. We need America to wake up and prioritize Israel, bring home Israelis, and make sure we stand by our number one ally in Israel. We will shut off the machinery that feeds money.
I think it's an older clip. That was going around. Bernie Sanders recently said that the Democrats are a threat to democracy, or he didn't deny it. He said, well, probably true. Again, there's a lot of admissions going on by the people in power, kind of saying, well, you know, when people are saying, are these things really going on, or is this thing really true? And they're kind of, well, Sure. Yeah, it is true. Here, let's listen to this. There hasn't been a fair primary for the Democrats since 2008. Yeah. That was a fair primary? Ah, ridiculous. Man. Okay. So much to say about that one. But anyways, we'll just run with 2008 was a fair primary. And if you believe that, I got some land for sale for cheap. It's actually an island. It's mine. Here we go.
The problem I think a lot of voters had is like they didn't even know if it was her. We didn't even know if Biden was president. We didn't even know if these were her talking points. And we felt that over the last 4 elections, Democrats, we felt that we didn't have a say on who could be president. We talk a lot about the Republicans being autocrats and oligarchs and taking over democracy, but from the Democrat perspective, and I'm a lifelong Democrat, I felt like the Democratic Party completely removed the democratic process from its constituents. And I think they need to have some accountability of that.
Like, okay, that's bad.
I donated for you. I mean, I wanted you to the 2016. I was like, this is going to happen. This guy's going to do it. And it felt like they stole it from me. And I'll be honest, it broke my heart when you supported him.
Look, but you have, in the world that I live in, you got a choice. And I mean, a lot of people, including my wife, agree with you. But you're down to a choice. Is it going to be Hillary Clinton or is it going to be Donald Trump? Not a great choice.
But it ended up being him anyway, so why don't we burn it down?
Because it's easy to say burning it down means that children are not going to have, food to eat, that the schools will deteriorate, people will not have health care.
I got it.
And I'm an elected official. I got to represent the people.
That's fair.
And I can't turn my back on.
But then could we not also say if ostensibly there hasn't been a fair primary for the Democrats since 2008, are they not also a threat to democracy? We often hear.
Fair enough. That is, yeah, I'm not going to argue with that.
Sure. I'll go with that. Oh, well, you got me there. So wouldn't that mean that you support this undemocratic institution called the Democrats? Bernie Sanders. Bernays. Well, I wouldn't go that far. I consider myself democratic in my soul, but the party not so much. Okay. Well, that was interesting. Okay. The whole thing was interesting and good for a couple of yucks. Which is maybe what we're here for. Guys, thanks for tuning in. Thanks for hanging out. Appreciate y'all. Thanks for not dropping out, but dropping in, as y'all like to do on the daily. I appreciate you. We'll be back tomorrow. That's Tuesday, the regular time of 12 p.m. Pacific. And we're going to do it all over again. We'll see what happens in the next 24. All right. Cool. Thanks, guys. Peace out. And so I can't find my intro. I can't find the bear growling video. It's somewhere. I seem to have lost it, but I'll locate it soon enough. And then we'll be back in business. Thanks, y'all.